All right, now, as much as I love dissecting the Watchtower system of beliefs using the scripture and using the publications themselves against them, I acknowledge that this tactic doesn't always work. One thing that I've been finding talking with my friends, and guys, just let me tell you, my new base of friends is so much more of a higher quality than the witness friends that I ever had. And they have been so patient and so understanding with me. It's beyond belief. It's wonderful. For God's sakes, I had somebody explain to me the bro code the other day. I didn't know about the bro code. That is the life that the Jehovah's Witness leads. But when I'm trying to explain to them about my upbringing and about the Bible and the scriptures and all those cookie witness beliefs, it doesn't really grab their attention. It's not... I'm lacking the words adequate to describe it. They're just not interested by it. They could care less whether the witnesses are correct scripturally or incorrect scripturally, because that doesn't appeal to their worldview. In some cases I'm talking with, some of my atheist friends, some of my deist friends, some of my Catholic friends, for Presbyterian friends, for God's sakes. They're all from all sorts of different creeds, and Scripture doesn't necessarily resonate with every single one of them. But what I find does resonate with them is when you expose the deceptive nature of Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's what I'm here to do tonight. You see, the entire Jehovah's Witness faith, the entire religion, believe it or not, and that's not much of an exaggeration, is predicated upon a lie. Witnesses lie. And if you can get that through your head, then every subsequent dealing you have with them will play out to your favor, believe it or not. Because, and J.W. Ferry has touched on this many times, take everything that they say, make it the opposite, and you're going to come out somewhat close to what the truth of the matter actually is. And so I'm here to share with you the Jehovah's Witness promise. Do you see that? That's not a very good picture, as I can tell. Well, this isn't a very good webcam, so you're going to have to deal with it. This is Panda Bear World, as portrayed in the What Does the Bible Really Teach book. Now, in this picture, you're going to see, people with instruments, multiple races. Oh man, you got some German folks, they're wearing the Lederhosen. You got a guy with a sombrero there in the back. You got some Nairobi garb, with some classic African patterning. There's some deer in the backgrounds and deciduous forest in a alpine. So this is what Jehovah's Witness promise. And that, in and of itself, is all well and good. Let's face it. Every major religion promises and tries to paint some picture of the hereafter. So I'm not here to debate the scholastic validity of their scriptural conclusion, because although I do believe that heaven is what is promised in the hereafter, rather than a earth-centric paradise, redundant, but you get what I'm saying, an earth-centric hope, that sort of is irrelevant and immaterial to this discussion, because what witnesses promise isn't just for the hereafter. They tell you that we are experiencing spiritual paradise today. And that is why their religion is predicated upon a lie. You see, you have all these pictures. This is one of their famous books. You Can Live Forever on Paradise Earth. Again, we have more lies. We have the lions lying down with the lambs. We have a little boy. He looks quite Aryan. The only race fit to be in paradise, by the way. Whoa. Did Jehovah's Witnesses paint that with their 1980s pastel craze? I think they might have. Oh, and here's Token. Do you see Token? Yeah, that's Token from South Park. The only black guy in paradise. Trust me, it was the 80s. It was a dark time. And by dark time, I actually mean the lack of darkness that was in the... And that's the first thing that I want to address. They paint this picture of racial diversity. And I'm not speaking against racial diversity, okay? Let's get that out of the way right now. I have friends of, again, many different creeds, colors, races, nationalities, and belief systems, okay? It's a veritable rainbow of association. But Jehovah's Witnesses can't really claim that. And while they're not overtly racist towards any particular group, it is a very self-segregating sect. What I mean by that, you have your black congregations and you have your white congregations. This isn't merely by happenstance, by mere roll of the dice, by an accident of fate. In my congregation, we were in the white congregation. As you can see, I am quite oily, pasty, and brilliant myself. Yes, I have Caucasian features. By the way, I would love to see the country of Caucasia. People tell me I'm Caucasian all the time. Asian people have Asia, China and all that, Chinese. You have African, a whole continent of Africa. But I have yet to see Caucasia. But that's completely different. Anyway. Okay, so we were from the white congregation, and then we had the black congregation. Now, we did have black people that went to our hall, and we had a few Asians, like only one or two. But then, vice versa, you have the black congregation that only had one or two white families. No, they didn't hate each other. No, they never made any racist remarks to each other. But let's think about this for a second. We had several, through the course of my tenure there, black families that would move into the territory and come to the white congregation, and then later would self-segregate themselves out to the black congregation. And this isn't just a phenomenon. You have the Spanish congregation. Regardless of whether or not Spanish is your main native tongue, all the, people from the Latin American continents flocked to the Spanish congregation, where they could all be with the Spanish people, the Latinos, the Hispanics. The blacks could be with the blacks, and the whites could be with the whites. And I saw it one time, it was so bizarre. Again, this isn't me trying to go on some, racist diatribe. I'm merely illustrating, once again, just to reiterate the point of this discussion, that Jehovah's Witnesses predicate their entire faith upon a lie. This is a false premise. This isn't a hope for the future. Let's see if the camera will focus. This isn't a hope for the future. This is a hope that they say exists now. Cross-racial interaction. When you look at the facts of the matter, it doesn't exist. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't... They're no more nor any less racist than average Americans, but yet they claim to be so much better. And that is where the falsehood lies. It's so bizarre. You see all these, that's the other half of this. You see all these smiling faces, all this happiness going on in all their publications and all their illustrations. Unless it's just comical and overdone, you just don't see miserable people in the publications. And that's not necessarily the Witness's fault, because when you want to go on an advertising campaign, you don't present miserable people. Unless it's Les Miserables, but again, totally different. But where Jehovah's Witnesses wander astray into the arena of falsehood is because they claim, once again, this is a spiritual paradise. Jehovah's Witnesses practically go around screaming that we're the happiest religion on earth, we're the happiest religion on earth, we're the happiest religion on earth, we're the happiest religion on earth. They're like a broken record. But then you talk with Jehovah's Witnesses in the black congregation. The white congregation. Either any congregation, it doesn't matter. You talk with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're fucking miserable. I used to be depressed nearly every goddamn day of my life. Every day was miserable. I had no friends. I had no love from my mother. I had no acceptance from my religious mentors, the elders, from the pioneers. And I wasn't the only one. We had, God, hold on a sec. We had like 4 or 5 people who were manic depressant. And that's an unusually high concentration of people with severe mental stability issues. I'm sorry, but it is. That is not reflected upon in the population. And the large majority of these people who also went to the congregation and weren't being medicated and weren't diagnosed with an actual problem were fucking miserable. All the time. All the time, always. They would have conventions, assembly programs, entire days dedicated to blaming it on other people, blaming it on society. Society made you miserable. It's Satan that did it. But again, predicating their entire religion upon a lie. That's not what they present. That's not what they say is real. They're not trying to even provide justification for why people are miserable. Rather, they're telling you that it's all in your head and you're surrounded by happy people, when the evidence is quite contrary to the facts. But again, these are the same people who believe that the lions and the tigers and the jellyfish and the sharks are all gonna make nice to one another. No more predatory behaviors. Basically, they're going to transform the entire earth into cows because God is really going to change the physiology of his creation. Yes, that's right, folks. Jaguars will grow extra stomachs to process the now primarily grain and photosynthetic plant life diet that they will be partaking of. They're going to dull out those sharp teeth and grow some more stomachs and process. Yeah, then they won't need claws anymore. So hooves will be appropriate, and God's going to turn all the animals into cows. That's not to say that God couldn't, but it's predicating their life upon a lie. All of it. Jehovah's Witnesses literally can't stop lying to themselves. And they tell themselves constantly, this book was published in 1989. If you saw the Screw Generations video, you find out that they've been promising this very same thing since before 1925. The end of the world is at hand. Well, folks, the scriptures that you're quoting from place the end at hand about 1,000+ years ago, so you may have a little bit longer to wait than you think. I don't know where I'm trying to go with this, but Jehovah's Witnesses are a liar. They perpetuate misery on every level within their congregation. They lie not only to you, but to themselves, and that's probably the most damaging aspect of the religion. Because you're not allowed to be honest with yourself. You're not allowed to tell yourself that the reason why you're miserable is because you're living... Oh, that reminds me. Real quick, like a bun, okay? You go into their paradise pictures, and you never see anybody emaciated from hunger or want. You never see anybody taking government subsidies. You never see anybody living in a pigsty, in a run-down, ramshackle, ghetto-ass apartment. But this is the life Jehovah's Witness lead. Because they're putting their goals, as they claim, on spiritual priorities. Making their lives miserable now for a promise that doesn't even have real basis in the Bible. I remember actually watching people go hungry because they had to pioneer. Watching people turn down fantastic job opportunities and careers just so they could peddle the Watchtower. Throw away magnificent talents that God gave them, that they developed, because, well, depends on how you want to take that statement, technicalities and all that, because I know that's going to get blowback from certain parts of the community, but you understand what I'm saying. They're ruining their lives on a lie for a corporation while lying to themselves, telling themselves that they're happy, that it's all right, and that they live in this utopia of spirituality. And it doesn't exist. So, what I would like to tell anybody who's watching this right now, anyone who has any modicum of interest in learning about Jehovah's Witnesses, study them. Learn everything you can about their religion. particularly the people. Watch them. Watch the body language. Watch the vacant eyes. Dead on the inside. And tell me that is what the true religion looks like to you. So I guess that's the end of this rant. Not one of my better ones, but hey, not every day can be a good day. So remember that life is a state of mind. See you next time, folks.